Welcome to the May the 4th, 1999 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie. We bring you the history of our city, and we're excited today. This is our history tape number 366, and we have a subject that is so exciting, hopefully to all of you in Grand Prairie, Texas. We're bringing together the history of Robert E. Lee Middle School, located on Grand Prairie Road here in uptown Grand Prairie, and they are 50 years old, and we're really honored today. First of all, I'm just so glad to welcome Mr. Abel Moaka. We're glad to have you with us, Abel.
Nice to be here.
Yes, and this isn't your first time on this dais, is it?
This is my second time.
Second time, so you're broken in properly.
I'm getting used to it.
Getting used to it. I may need an anchor person one of these days, and I'll
never know.
have to keep you in mind, won't I?
Thank you.
Also, Patsy Williams Burns. Patsy, welcome to the set, my dear.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, to start out with, we have you two wonderful people to begin talking about the history of Lee Middle School, and then we're going to have two other guests, the last part of this interview, that'll tell a little bit more and maybe tell us some stories on you two.
Oh, my.
Yes, so you're going to have to protect your territory, aren't you?
I'm going to have to.
And as the principal of Lee Middle School, how long have you been there, Abel?
I'm starting my 6th year at Lee Middle School.
Okay, that doesn't seem possible, the 6th year.
It's gone fast.
It really has gone
fast.
fast, hasn't it? And as the principal, tell me the schools that you have been involved in since you have come to Grand Prairie, Texas.
Okay. I started at South Grand Prairie High School in 1990. And I was there 2 years as an assistant principal. And then from there I moved to Jefferson Middle School, and I was there 2 years. And the second year at Jefferson, it became an intermediate school, 5th and 6th grade. And then I came over to Lee Middle School.
Yes,
And
all right. How many teachers and students do you have on your campus, approx, at this time?
We've got about between 630 to 640 students. And teachers, we have 47 teachers.
47 teachers, okay. That's a pretty good campus.
That's a pretty good sized campus. It's a perfect campus, and I think many times when it gets larger, you lose the effectiveness of instruction and security.
Yes.
So we've got the perfect campus.
How exciting is it for you to be the principal during the 50th year celebration?
Well, it's always exciting to be a part of such an exciting time. And I know that Ms. Burns has been working very hard and actually preparing everything, putting it together. But it is exciting, and knowing the history of Lee and the teachers that have been there with us and have seen change and have gone through a lot of changes. It's just good to be there. And I think we're going forward, and we're a progressive school, and we're doing good things at Lee, and I'm very proud of our staff.
Yes, and as one of the students said, don't forget to tell them Lee's a good school.
It is an excellent school.
All right. Now, it's not always been Robert E. Lee Middle School. I believe it was named something else at one time.
Yes, in 1948 it was Grand Prairie Junior High School, and then in 1955 it became Robert E. Lee Junior High, and then that changed again in 1974 to what it's called today, Robert E. Lee Middle School.
Just had all of these name transitions.
That's right.
Yes.
And this year we have 7th and 8th graders, and we've had that the last 6 years. We're hoping in the years to come to bring back the 6th graders.
Oh,
That's a possibility.
There's a possibility in the future.
Yes.
Yes, well, and that would tie those in so you won't lose those to dropout situations. Is that the reasoning?
That's right. They can conform to our expectations on our campus, and I think will allow them to be more successful.
All right. We're going to leave you for a few minutes. We just going to have to really get with Patsy now, because with Patsy, with all these notes in her hand, I know how much research she must have been doing, so we want to let her go front and center. And if you'd look right out into your camera then and tell us anything you want to tell us about the history you've researched, how long you've been there, and etc.
Well, I worked at Lee Middle School for 22 years. I retired last June. I attended school at Grand Prairie Junior High in 52, 53, and 54. And at that time, it was a 7th, 8th, and 9th grade school.
And so that was when it was called Grand Prairie
Junior High.
Junior High. All right. And as the Grand Prairie Junior High, and were you one of the first classes that went into the new junior high as it was built?
No, I think there were probably 5 or 6 before me.
5 or 6 classes prior to that time. And do you have when that was built, subtract 50 from 99, we know it was about 1949, don't we?
It was opened in the school year of 48, 49.
48, 49. And do we remember the principal at that time? Was it Mr. Hendricks?
I don't think so.
It was not Mr. Hendricks.
I don't think so.
We're going to have to research that, aren't we? Yes.
I've tried to research it, and so far I've failed.
Oh, well, it'll be somewhere in the archives, because we know that the library has all of the old Grand Prairie newspapers on microfilm, so we can go back to the microfilm and we'll find out all of that good stuff, won't we? Well, who's in charge of this celebration at Lee?
Myself and Myra Hasty is helping, and
Okay.
we're going to have an open house Friday from about noon until 6 o'clock that evening.
And that's this coming Friday?
This coming Friday.
Oh, we're down to the wire, aren't we?
We are.
Okay, and Friday. Okay, and at what time will that be? And is the public invited, or past Lee
Anyone
people?
is inviting, especially students or people who've worked at Lee. And if they have any memorabilia that they'd like to bring along and share and show and tell, when they're more than welcome.
All right, and give me the time.
I'll be there all day in the library.
So the school's
they
going to
can
be
come and
open
go.
all day on that Friday, and guests are welcome all during
Yes,
those hours?
until 6 o'clock.
Until 6 p.m. Okay, we better put that down so that we'll remember to announce that. And do you have the complete address of Lee on Grand Prairie Road?
It's 401
It is
East
401.
Grand Prairie Road.
401 East GP Road. Okay. And
And if they don't know how to get there, call us and we can give them directions.
we need that magic telephone number
That's
then.
right. It's 972-262-1818.
1818. And that'll get you through unless you're really, really busy that day
That's
on doing
correct.
stuff. Oh, that is wonderful.
We'll get them there.
Well, Patsy, were you born in Grand Prairie, Texas?
No, ma'am, we moved here when I was about 5 years old from East Texas.
From East Texas. And what brought you here?
My father went to work for North American.
And what did he do?
He was a mechanic.
He was a mechanic. And then where did you start to school? If you got here at 5, did you start at 6?
Yes, I started at Travis Elementary.
At Travis Elementary, okay. And then from Travis on to Jefferson or to Grand Prairie?
To Grand Prairie Junior High. There was no Jefferson.
And then on to Grand Prairie High School?
Grand Prairie High, yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so you're a pure Gopher. And what do the Bears think about, since you're the Golden Bears, what do the Bears think about having had you as a counselor clerk at Lee Middle School, and with all of your back history in Gopherland? They accepted you because you had been to Lee, right?
Yes, ma'am. I hope they did.
Oh,
They did.
They did.
I enjoyed all my years there.
Well, why don't you look out into your camera and tell us anything you want to about the history you've researched, or something from your notes that you might think that would be advantageous to those in our listening audience.
Well, one thing that I remembered when I was a student there is Pat Boone appeared. He came with a band from North Texas and performed in our boys' gym, because at that time we didn't have a stage area where he could perform. And he walked out amongst the kids sitting on the floor, and of course the girls enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, yes.
And then he had lunch at our cafeteria.
How wonderful.
And I remember that we used to have open campus at lunchtime.
Oh, you did. And you could go across the street over there to the skate land place where they had hot dogs and all of the good things?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's right.
And on Thursdays is when we had our ball games, and we played our ball games at night. And at that point, that was the only time we could wear jeans to school. And we always would decorate shirts up.
Oh, let's take a look at your shirt. Louis is, pull it up a little bit. Oh, there we go, Louis. Oh, that is wonderful. And that has a golden bear on the back, and all the signatures. Read us some of the signatures that are
But
on
these
there.
are not from the school. This is from Lee when I worked there in 1989. But this was just like what we did when I went to school there.
Oh,
And all the kids would sign them.
Do you have your shoes that you
I
You left
have
those-
some over there, but
but you left those with our studio audience,
Yes,
didn't
I
you?
did.
Oh, yes. Well, in working for Lee all of those years, what do you think was some of the highlights of your being able to be a clerk and taking care of all of the counselors' paperwork and files and all this? What are some of your wonderful memories of that?
I've enjoyed all of my 22 years there with everything that I did, and I hope that in that time that maybe I've helped one or two students accept reality and learn how to deal with it.
Yes. And were your hours the same as the other teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
They were. Okay. Anything else you want to say about Lee Middle School and how exciting it is to be on the team? And do you have other people working with you on the committee other than you and Myra Hasty?
That's mainly the ones that are helping.
Okay.
And I'm proud to be a Lee Bear, and
Okay.
it was a great school and still is.
All right. And are y'all going to have refreshments?
Yes, ma'am. We'll have punch and cookies.
Punch and cookies. Okay. And we now have the place they can call if they need information and all of this. Now, we need to get down a little bit more about some of the personalities of the students that you have on board. Do you have a resource officer on your campus?
We do have a resource officer on our campus that's been with us going on 6 years this year.
6 years. And who is your resource?
That's Officer McLean. She's been with us ever since I've been there.
Oh, she's the one that had her picture in the paper
Yes,
not too long ago.
2-3 years
honored.
ago, she was
Yes.
Officer of the Year for Grand
Yes.
Prairie
Oh,
Police
she's
Department.
wonderful. Oh.
Outstanding.
Yes. And having the same one for 6 years is just outstanding, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Okay.
It makes us feel much more comfortable.
All right. And we have two of your, I guess, teachers that have longevity of service that we're going to interview in a few minutes. But other than these two that you have brought, have you ever had an outstanding teacher of the year for the Chamber of Commerce from your campus?
We've always had
nominee?
nominees, and the two ladies that you're going to interview have been part
Have
of
been
that.
nominees?
Yes, they have.
Oh, that's great.
They're outstanding teachers and very loyal to Lee Middle School.
Now, who is your coach now?
Our head coach is Robert Black.
Robert Black?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He's in his second year.
Second year, okay. Let's see if there's anything else. We have one more minute and we're going to wind this up. Is there anything else now, Patsy, that you want to say that you want to get on this interview? Time is of the essence. You've loved all of it.
I've loved it all, yes.
Well, and that's wonderful. And you are so wonderful to take one of the chairs of pulling this together for the 50th anniversary. And is there anything you want to say?
I just want to invite the public to our campus at any given time, not only for the celebration of this anniversary, but at any time. We're doing good things at Lee Middle School. We are into our second year of uniforms, and our kids look wonderful.
Oh, that is great. Your magic telephone number one more time.
It's 972-262-1818.
And the wonderful address of Lee Middle School.
It's 401 East Grand Prairie Road.
All righty. I want to thank y'all so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. And especially, we're looking forward to the two teachers that you brought to finish up our interview. And y'all have been wonderful. Patsy, thank you so very much for all of the things that you've done over the years. And we need to interview you a little bit more in depth about the Williams and what all they did in Grand Prairie, Texas, don't we?
That's great.
Thank y'all.
Thank
and
you.
we'll be right back with the rest of our history of Lee Middle School.
When you throw bottles, cans, and wrappers out along East Texas Road, oh, it makes me so blue. I get big tears in my eyes, boys, better do the things you do. I'm so tired of feeling blue.
And as we continue our pre-celebration of Lee Middle School's 50th anniversary, we're very pleased to have two teachers of long tenure at Lee Middle School today. And we're so pleased, first of all, to introduce you to Mary Sim Kiesler Jarrett. Welcome to this set, child here.
Thank you.
Yes. A longtime Grand Prairian.
Yes.
a native Grand Prairian nearly. Yes, a native
Started
Grand Prairie.
school here.
Started school here. Well, that almost gets you on that. And Merlene Tidwell, welcome to the set.
Thank you.
You two wonderful, beautiful young ladies that are still teaching boys and girls. In spite of the fact of all of these bad things that I hear about kids, y'all got all the good ones, didn't you?
That's right.
Yes.
So you just stay and stay, and isn't that wonderful? And you're staying to celebrate the 50th. That is wonderful. Let's begin with you, Mary Sim, and talk a little bit about you as a person. I knew your parents. I know your brother. I don't know as well as I'd like your son, but tell us a little bit about your family so that we'll have all of that for the viewing audience.
Well, we've been here, as my mother used to say, since they dug the Trinity.
That's it.
A long time. I started school in the old ad building
Yes.
over on College
Uh-huh.
and went through the 6th grade here. And then we left for a time and went to the Valley. My brother has recently moved to Austin, where he is a criminal, or on the Court of Criminal Appeals. And then my son, Mike, is in Tyler.
He is in Tyler.
Yes.
Well, you would tell us the name of that marvelous judge that is your brother, that we're so honored that he represents Grand Prairie in Austin, Texas.
That's Judge Mike Kiesler.
Yes, and your parents, Mr. and Ms. L.E. Kiesler, and Cymbeline was your wonderful mother, and very well known in all of the circles in Grand Prairie, especially the educational circles. It's just really a great family, and we're glad to have you with us. But first of all, now we want to tell about when you became acquainted with Lee, whether it was Grand Prairie middle school or whatever, high school or whatever at junior high.
It was Robert E. Lee Junior High School. I started in 1967, and I have stayed there by choice. I love that school.
All right, and your field of teaching
It's
there
English and reading.
always has been English and
Always.
reading. Well, your room, if you went to another room, it would probably, the school would probably fall down, wouldn't it?
Well, I tell you, we had a principal who is still there, who moved me from my room.
Oh, my.
Oh, well, we're doing academic teaming, and it
I
was
see.
necessary that I be with my
And he was
team.
living a dangerous life to
It
do
was
that,
pretty
wasn't it?
dangerous.
Yes.
But he
uh-huh.
and I are good friends.
Oh, that is wonderful. And teaching the English and the reading of the two, your favorite?
I would have to say the literature.
The
That's
literature.
my love.
That is your love. I see. And you went to school for your higher education where?
UT Austin
Okay.
and North Texas.
Okay. And coming back to your old hometown to teach school for this many years is outstanding. So I want you to tell me some of the wonderful people that maybe have gone through your classes that have sat at your feet and now they're doing good things in other towns or maybe this town, or name some of the famous people you
Well,
taught.
I have a principal of Eisenhower, Pat Blanchard.
Yes.
Several ex-students or teachers, Kyla Schooling and Jean Nunez. I have former student Tammy Phelps, who works at Bank One.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Oh,
I have.
our photographer in Uptown Grand Prairie.
And a young man who is no longer here, his name is Leslie Anthony. His father was choir director.
Oh, yes.
And I had him the first year I taught at Lee, and a few years ago at Christmas, Leslie came back to see me and he said, "I can't believe you're still here." And I said, "Well, I am." He said, "Well, are you ever going to retire, or do you just plan to slump over your red pen?" And I said, "Well, I think I'll just slump."
Just slump. Now tell me about your Mike, your son that is in Tyler. What's he doing?
He's an attorney.
He is an attorney.
Yes.
And you let him move all the way to Tyler.
I didn't have much choice.
Not much choice. Well, that is so great. Does he have a family?
Yes, has a little boy, Mick, and a little girl, Rachel.
And they're the joy of your life,
Oh,
of course.
yes.
Oh, that is great. And of all of the boys and girls that you have taught at Lee, who would be probably one of the most outstanding that really did get into literature and really did carry on the torch for English and reading as you would see it?
Well, the teacher I mentioned, Kyla Schooling, is an English reading teacher.
Oh, that is great.
So I don't know how much I influenced her, but maybe a little.
All right, I'm going to get back with you in a few minutes, but Merlene's going to have a little equal time here. Merlene Tidwell, a longtime teacher, give us your stats now. She's told us how long she's taught at Lee, and you tell us yours now.
I came here in 1960.
But you weren't, you're not a Grand Prairie native.
No,
All
I'm
right, but
not.
that's all right. We're going to forgive you of that. So now,
I've been here a long time, though.
Yes.
And Joe Hendricks was the principal when I
Yes.
came here. And as Mary Sim said a moment ago, I've seen lots of middle schools open. I believe there are 4 others besides Lee now.
Yes.
And each of those has opened, and by choice, I have wanted to stay at Lee. I made the comment one time that I loved every old brick and piece of mortar in that building.
Yes.
It's home. My 2 children went through Lee.
They did. All right, well, let's get back now. What do you teach at Lee?
I have 8th grade English and literature also.
Well, how rude of you two to choose this. Oh, I just love it.
Well-
Isn't that wonderful? And yet you stay there, and both of you, that's wonderful.
We like
And
that school.
You like that school. But now tell me about your family. You mentioned that your 2 children now. We need to know about your family so we can get them on the docket.
My son and daughter both graduated from Grand Prairie High School.
You'd give us their names.
Derek and Alicia.
All right.
Derek has married a native Grand Prairie girl.
Oh, right.
They did not know each other in school. They met after each had graduated, and they have recently moved to Keller.
Right.
And Alicia has married almost 2 years ago and lives here in Grand Prairie.
All right. No grandchildren yet?
No.
But that's down the line for us. One of these days,
maybe.
hopefully. That is great. And name some of maybe the famous people that have been through your classes.
After so many years,
Yes.
there are a lot. But I saw Marshall Sutton the other day. He's at Grand Prairie Bank. Alan Brown was one of my very first students.
President of the school board in the past.
Past president, yes. Terry Brooks is on the school
On
board
the
now.
school board now, yes.
Mary Sim mentioned Doug Bryan. We had career day at Lee today. Doug was the speaker in my class.
How wonderful.
And, he came to visit with our school. Let's see, I know there was a fireman that went to Lee that I had. There are so many people I couldn't even begin to name, but I think one of the greatest joys is what Mary Sim had mentioned, to see some of the students that we have had to come back and be teachers at Grand Prairie.
Yes.
Has meant a whole lot.
That's wonderful. Now, you did not give us the year that you came to Lee.
1960.
1960.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I think that's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about where you received your higher education before you became a teacher.
I graduated from what then was East Texas State College in Commerce. That's my hometown.
Commerce is your
Yes.
hometown. Okay.
And I grew up there, went to school there, and then I went to Texas City and taught 2 years there, and then came to Grand Prairie, and this has been home ever since.
What brought you to Grand Prairie, Texas?
At the time I was married, and he was working here, and Mr. Chambers was the one that I
Yes.
think hired both of us.
Yes.
And so I have been here, and Grand Prairie has been home to my 2 kids and me.
And you haven't mentioned your husband's name.
I'm not married now.
Not married now? All right, we won't ask for that on our dossier, right? Okay. Now, of all of the things that you've taught in reading and literature, which is your favorite?
Personally, I love to read. I enjoy teaching literature, but I think I'm one of the unusual people who loves the grammar. I really do enjoy
my.
grammar.
I
do.
need you in my family. All of my children and my grandchildren need help. Don't everyone needs help in grammar? Yes.
I do like that.
Oh, you do. Well, when you teach that part of your course, do you find that the boys and girls, do you have to really work with most of them?
Yes, they don't always share my love for it.
Well, do you ever get anyone that really does, and you find them going on and excelling in this and maybe coming back to teach?
Oh yes, in fact I had an ex-student that told me one time that she would not have done as well in her college classes had we not done all the work that we did in our 8th grade classes. So it does stick with some of them.
Do either of you all write poetry or do anything like
Mary
that?
Sim does.
All right, I knew I would find someone that's into poetry. We'll get back with her in a minute. And that, is there anything else you want to tell about Lee while I have you captive? We have only 3 minutes left on our interview.
Well, I can only emphasize what Patsy and Mr. Mojica and Mary Sim all have said. I think we have a great school. I love this school.
Yes. And do you have any special people that you're bringing back for this 50th anniversary? Or you're inviting all of your friends? And
Every ex-student that I see, every person that I have talked to that has had any affiliation with Lee, I mention this reception that we're having in the open house. Yes.
All day Friday, May the 6th, 1999?
May 7th.
7th, May 7th. Oh, yes, I had the 6th and changed it to the 7th and couldn't remember that from 3 minutes ago. All right, tell us about writing poetry.
Well, I haven't written much in a number of years, but
Yes.
I have done some writing. I've never had anything published. I just have written for myself.
Well, wasn't your mother a poet in a sense of the word?
In a sense, yes.
She was a good example for many of us for many things, and one of our outstanding gophers and educators, too. All right. Anything else we need to talk about? We're winding down to 1 minute.
For everyone to come to our open house and
Yes.
see all the changes in our building in these last 50 years. There have been quite a few.
Quite a few in the last 50 years. All right.
I want to say that I taught both of Merlene's children.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and they were delightful,
Oh, that's great.
real special.
And you didn't have to twist their arm to get their lessons or anything like
No.
this?
Mom did that.
Yes. Mom was right behind them. Okay, is there anything else we need to talk about? I'd like for you to extend an invitation for everyone to come to Lee.
Do come. We would enjoy seeing you and reminiscing very much.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for taking the time today to come and do this
Thank
very
you.
special history. A real salute to a school that's meant a lot to a lot of people in Grand Prairie that maybe won't even hear about this. And I'm so sad that we can't send up a flare or something all over the United States and say, Lee Middle School in Grand Prairie, Texas, Lee Junior High wants you back. And I want to thank y'all for coming to
Thank
be with
you.
us today. It's been
Thank
wonderful.
you. It has been.
And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.